Hi everyone, this is Garrison for Iron Kingdoms at War, bringing you my latest figure feature, which is this Mariner, a mercenary heavy warjack. First time I was looking over the Warmachine catalog online, and I saw this guy. One word came to mind: Bioshock. For any of you who've ever played the video game, you know Big Daddies, and this guy just had, you know, Big Daddy written all over him, and I had to get my hands on him eventually. So he's a very happy addition to my army. My mercenary army and my Warmachine collection. A lot of fun to paint, but let me talk about the unit itself first. The Mariner Heavy Warjack is very neat because first of all he has the ship gun, which is exactly what the name says. It's basically the cannon taken from a ship, and he carries it into battle. Now the upside of this thing is very nice range, very high power, so it's going to put a hole in anything that it wants to put a hole in. The downside is it needs a loader. It basically needs a figure base to base with it to be the loader for this weapon. So that's a downside. But then again, if you take this guy in a mercenary unit, such as, you know, Sam McHorn and the Devil Dogs or whatnot, or just have an extra figure nearby, you just allocate them to this warjack as the loader, and he's worth it. So that's for sure. His melee weapon is a ship's anchor. Alright, so that's pretty cool. It's another high power plus strength weapon because he's got a nice strength stat line too. But the anchor gives them a thresher ability, which means he can basically whip this thing around and hit anybody in melee range in his line, which is in his line of sight. So very cool for attacking multiple targets in melee. The rest of his stats are pretty run-of-the-mill. But again, those high-power weapons mean this guy is a force to be reckoned with. Now, as far as the modeling of this figure and the painting, I really wanted to go for kind of a rusty, mucky look, as I call it. I wanted the story behind this warjack to be that, for some reason, and it was a crime, but this guy was left to rot, you know, behind some dockside warehouse, and all the sea salts had its way with him, and the elements, and he's seen better days, so he's really rusty. You know, if we take some look at his stuff, you know, he's not as pretty as he used to be. But on the other hand, you know, he's still a multi-ton behemoth that can deal out death and destruction. So don't underestimate him because of his dirty looks. So mostly kind of a slate gray finish on the armor plating, with some plate steel and some bronze or copper type tones on some of the other pieces. Everything's heavily weathered, heavily rusted. As far as the base work, I want it to look wet and swampy. That was my goal. So what I did was I gave this thing a coat of spackle to give it kind of a wavy, soft look like mud. Painted that a dark brown. Didn't do any highlighting it. I wanted it to be deep, dark mud. Added some field grass. And then over that, over the mud, I added a layer of watered down weld bond, because that stuff dries very shiny but very, very clear, and that gave me the final effect. Then using a leather hole punch, I cut out some small circles, cut notches in them, and they became my lily pads that you know, were just kind of resting on top of this mucky swamp water here. So that is my Mariner. I hope you enjoy them, and I look forward to taking them to battle. This is Garrison for Iron Kingdoms at War, signing off. Happy wargaming, everybody.